Hey, everybody, and welcome to the 2025 Pioneer Podcast wrap-up show. Woo! And today with me, I've got Hannah, who you all know, Callie, who you all know, Brice, who you all know, and Ashton, manning the cameras, who you probably don't know. Say hi, Ashton.
Hi, Ashton.
Hi.
There you go. As you can see, we're a little bit different in the studio today, just because we are celebrating our 2 years of the show. And I'm told that I'm finally getting my balloon drop.
It worked. I even got one.
Oh my God! Look, we should just look. All right.
Okay, I'm sticking
I don't
with
want my
it.
balloon drop anymore. No, that's a private joke, but. So welcome, everybody. Today's going to be great. We're going to be going over our favorite episodes, our favorite, some of the things our favorite guests have said, and we're going to talk about the future of the show a little bit as well. So with that, let's get into it.
So I'm going to start us out today with the episode with some year 2 stats. So you can kind of think of this as like a Spotify Wrapped for our podcast. I just think those are always fun. I look forward to when that comes out. So in total, including this episode, we have 20 episodes that we've launched this year. We have 108 podcast-related shorts that we released. In terms of minutes of our podcast, 976 minutes of podcast content. And as well, our viewers have watched 6,355 hours of our podcast.
Oh, wow.
So that is a lot.
Sorry,
I was
guys.
hoping you'd say hours and not minutes. I was
Yeah.
like minutes, and then you said hours. I'm like, whoa, that's
That
a
is
lot.
I should have actually run the math on like how many days that is. That would have been
Ooh.
fun.
That sounds like
Ashton,
too much
could you
Sackett.
calculate
Yeah.
that? I'm just kidding.
And
Less
this is how many
Sackett, that's
minutes were
everyone.
just watched with episodes of Sackett.
I was say, who's watched all of those episodes? I have.
Yes.
Callie has.
Me.
Hannah has more than
At
once.
least twice.
Yeah.
In terms of our audience, 80% are between the ages of 18 and 44. Which I just think is an interesting fact. I know you always say in the podcast
Yeah,
we have a wide
runs
range
the
of
gamut.
listeners. So I just found that interesting. One more fun fact. Countries, our top countries that are listening, obviously besides the U.S., that would be our top one, is the U.K., then Canada, Australia, and South Africa. So we really are watched all around the world.
Do you think that Robert Irwin has watched our show?
Oh, that'd be so interesting.
I'm just kidding. But Robert,
I mean,
if
we
you're
do
listening,
have a great zoo here, so
maybe he should visit.
maybe we should have someone from the zoo on here and he will watch. Top viewed episodes. We have, this one is going to surprise you. Our top viewed episode, only counting views from this year, is still Ariana's. She is
Wow.
still getting residual podcast views
Well,
as
she
our
was
top
an anomaly
episode.
the first year.
I
Because
know.
what did she get total, like 4 million or something?
Yeah, in terms of
Including
just
shorts?
content, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so she is still one of our top podcasts this year. In terms of ones we've released this year, HeavyTech with Mike and Davide, Kelly Lynch from the Railroad, Fort Wayne FC, obviously, and Magali. So we're
Wow.
going to talk more in depth on each of these people, but just an overview of kind of our most successful episodes. So if you're just starting out with our podcast, those would be some good ones to check out.
You know, we're going to get into some of our favorite highlights throughout the year, but I got to tell you guys, you know, the one thing that I am most proud of this show is this team. Really, because if you think about it, you know, this concept was developed before any of you guys even got here. And I got to tell you, if it wasn't for you guys made it 10 times better than I envisioned. So thank you. And great job, really. This is we were getting the one thing that I wanted to bring up on this was that there was other partners and such in our network that were, why are you guys doing a podcast? And I know you guys had heard about that, and we said, well, it's part of the ecosystem. This is what the Pioneer thing is about. It's about the people and telling their stories. And I couldn't be more proud of the success that we've had off of this. So thank you. And you too, Ashton.
I can't imagine how the whole balloon drop would go solo. So
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
these things take planning and time. You talked a little bit about some of our favorite quotes, etc.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So I'll start with John Guingrich. He said something that really stuck with me, and he said,
The medical model of disability is I'm broken, I've got to be fixed. The independent living model is if I can't access something in the community's broken, and we got to figure out how to fix the community because the community should be accessible to everybody.
so he kind of flip-flopped not necessarily the blame, but where you should go to get things fixed. And he said, that's one of the challenges that they've had, is that people don't know even how to ask. And if you guys remember, that was one of the questions I asked him on the show. I said, I don't even know how to ask this. And he said, I don't care as long as you ask. We should all be asking the questions how we can get more accessibility to people that have special needs, and that really resonated with me. He's like the soundbite king. Yeah, he was great.
He had so many stories that were, based on his life, just how many times that, either he was turned away or questioned. I think one was like a roller coaster, I think, that was like,
yeah, that's right.
They were asking like, how are you going to hold on? He's like, well, just like anybody else would.
Right.
But there he just was, turned away, and it's unfortunate that that sort of stuff kind of happens.
And even that he has overcome that adversity to become a CEO and to inspire so many people. I can't say enough about John. He's a great guy. He's a great friend. And when he left the show last time, I had an invite on LinkedIn and an invite on Facebook waiting for me. So there you have it.
You're fast friends.
We are now.
Next, the one that kind of stood out to me was Josette Ryder from Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northeast Indiana. You, Jonathan, and her hit it off right away. You guys were kind of connecting on the same wavelength there.
Not many people can get on my wavelength.
No, but she kind of matched your energy when she came into the room,
yes.
Which was good to see, because I was sitting in this chair right next to you for that episode, and one of the most impactful things that she said to me was just how many kids are on the waiting list.
300 kids on the waiting list, and about 400 in a drawer that want to get on the waiting list that don't even have interviews. But we need bigs, so we really need to use our resources to try to attract bigs.
So you have over 700 kids that are just trying to get on this wait list and be a part of any program that they have, because they have so many programs, the Lunch Buddy program, the Real Men Read program, or if you have the typical big and little relationship. And I know a couple of us here in the office have taken advantage of that. I've been a part of the lunch program in the past, so it's unfortunate to see or hear that number, because when she said it the first time during the episode, it was just kind of shock, and then you're kind of overcome with sadness, because that's too many if anybody were to hear that number.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take the next one that kind of stood out to me was Maxwell from Playbook Creative. He's someone that reached out to us and saw our podcast and wanted to be a part of it, and he wanted to be part of just telling great stories. And so that was a really cool partnership that we had with him. And as someone who does work in the creative field, I just always find it interesting to have those people on our podcast. And I'll go ahead and just play a clip of something that he had said.
If you have ever filled up your gas tank from something you love doing, you're ahead of 99% of society. Kind of that perspective made me realize that I am past where 13-year-old Max would have been like, you made it, dude.
I just love that quote, because I think it really puts success as a creative, or just anyone who is passionate about what they're doing and is doing what they love. It really puts it in perspective, because I feel like it's really easy to look at super influential or celebrity status people who are doing what they love and being like, that is it, that's making it. And I feel like it doesn't have to look like that to still be doing your passion and to still be, just making it. So I think just in terms of what does success look like to you, I feel like he just had a really interesting response to that.
And even kind of riding that same wave of, what is success? I remember Sammie talking a little bit about that. We always ask some kind of question to our guests, what does success look like to you? Things like that. And she kind of was like, I don't know. I don't know if I would even use that word. She was like kind of not wanting to say that she was successful and not successful. And we ended up kind of weaseling out of her that she felt like the success came when she got the first ever bench. And Sammie's one that's been on all kinds of national news sites and things like that. She's seen, a lot more of the world has seen Sammie than has seen me, for sure. But even for someone like her, she still feels like, just getting that first bench was really impactful, and I feel like that was successful. And our whole partnership with Sammie so far has been just like really, really fun.
Well, she's been doing this half her life.
I know. That
What's
was
your favorite line?
Yes.
Yes.
Because she goes, I've been doing this half my life. I go, how old are you? She goes, 16. I'm like, oh.
I know.
Started at 8.
Now I'm depressed.
She's one that, like, all the time that I was spending, in pre-production things with her for the Pioneer event and for the podcast and things, she just, like, I don't know, you just feel inspired after talking to her, and you're like, yeah, I think I could do something big, because if Sammie can do it, why can't I do
this
it?
kid is punking me.
She's beating me, I think.
Because we're talking about measurements of success, and we're talking about people coming in here and telling stories. That's what the whole platform is about. That's what it was supposed to be about from the get-go. And I'll never forget the conversation that I had with Nick Dara, who works here, when he said, we get dinged that we're being too self-promotional. So that the whole nucleus of this idea was for people to tell their stories and share their successes and give advice as to what they did well and what they didn't. Adam James, who was here from D.C., and he always talked about his people first process and making communities better through design.
Like, you should be in a space that makes you better at the end of the day. So that's what that people first process is about. It's really diving in early. It's understanding who our users are going to be, and then how do we make the biggest impact for them.
But I think what he talked about was how attitudinal changes can come just from setting things up a certain way in a room. Look what we did with Cheers to 2 years behind you guys, right? Ta-da! I just think that he and his teams have found a way to make a space inviting and make it more useful than it would have been before. If you guys ever saw the pictures of the office here before the construction, night and day. Absolutely.
Another story that kind of stood out to me was one that was told by Brandon Butz, and it was kind of like the story behind of the success or the rise of RemedyLIVE, and their CEO, President Clinton Fopple, who was a Pioneer nominee this past year, told him the story of how they kind of got started, and it was just another one of those impactful stories that you're just like you're taken aback, and I think it goes back to what you're just speaking about a moment ago, Jonathan, about the stories that we get to hear. And, I don't know if we would ever heard that type of story unless we brought Brandon up here. And it just, again, makes you think of like, man, we could be doing so much more, in all these different spaces, including mental health. And that was our first episode of this season. And it started the season off with, one that impacted me a lot.
Mental health awareness, for sure. And another one was Gary Hively. From Poptique. He had founded it with his daughter, who kind of started this whole idea of flavored popcorns when she was in high school. And unfortunately, we lost her. She passed away, so he went on, to run the company by himself without her, which it kills me to even think about. I think she passed in her young 20s. Something like that, but that he's carrying on her tradition. And the one thing that he said in there that really resonated with me was
one of Lindsay's goals was to be an entrepreneur and to help other entrepreneurs, because a lot of people think you have to be anointed to that.
Right.
You have to anoint yourself, and so if you have that passion, you have that drive, go for it.
So she didn't want to just launch this thing and leave it at that. She said she wanted to leave a trail for people behind her to catch up, and I thought that was beautiful.
Moving on to some featured guests, we had some guests that we were like highly anticipating coming on the show. For me, one of my very highly anticipated episodes was Magali. Because as a person who loves the Food Network and all things cooking shows and cooking shows on YouTube, whatever, I'm watching it. I love it. That was such an exciting one for me, and it felt crazy to be like, what is the word? Like 1 degree away from Gordon Ramsay, basically. So
I know you were prepping for that episode for weeks.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that was really hard prep I had to do, guys. I had to watch the episodes to make sure I had some talking points for the show about what was going on. But that one was really cool, and she has a lot of like really cool life experience to like hear about and stuff like that.
Magali has a great personality, a great attitude, and I think it was her show to me was more than just cooking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
she had such a good energy too, and she's a person when like if you meet her once and you made a good impression on her, then like you're buddies for life kind of thing.
I look forward to the free desserts she gives me.
Well, maybe there's also that, I'm not sure.
Has its perks.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone that I think was highly anticipated was our 2025 Pioneer of the Year.
Oh, yeah.
Dan Starr, he had won our award this year, and we got to showcase his story in our Pioneer series, but it was also awesome to get him to sit down and share more about his story. And as someone who had to edit down his story, I was really thankful to have like a space where he could just share it all. I didn't have to cut any of that out. So he has such a... just such a unique, I think, mindset as someone who is the CEO of such a large company for Do It Best and True Value. One of my favorite quotes that he has is, "The only long-term successful leadership is servant leadership."
Yeah, and it's funny too, because I think people don't necessarily understand the magnitude of that acquisition. I mean, you got to take all of these. A lot of those were mom and pop owned stores, so you have to try to take them into your existing payroll, into your existing platforms and things like that. It's a lot of work, and that was a huge coup to the industry, because where does that put him now? Are they number one?
I think for co-op hardware
Yeah, co-op.
stores.
For co-ops,
Yeah, because he mentioned it, and I asked him doing that episode, like, how tense was the first meeting with the people from True Value? Because he had to get up in front of hundreds of people, and he's like, "Okay, I'm your new CEO," and he was like, "Yeah, it was very quiet at the beginning until he like finally started talking, and then they kind of relaxed a little bit because of what he told them that what he was going to do, and some of the positive changes that he was hopefully going to make with this acquisition." So definitely, I think making that acquisition, was a huge thing for them these past couple of years.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the threads that I see, the continuous change that we go through as a region. We've talked about this before, when some of the site selectors came through, and this one of them was standing there in the main conference room looking out the window, and he said last time he was here was 8 or 9 years ago, and he couldn't even believe this was the same city. So, change is hard, and we're seeing that all over the place. We talk about the struggles of some of our guests, and they're always very open to tell us that the hardest part of the job is X, the hardest part of the job is Y. And I think that that's one of the things that we need to make sure that the show shares, because nobody snaps their fingers and makes it happen. You'd wish for things like that, that it could happen. It doesn't work that way. It takes the grit and tenacity and hard work, and it pays, but you got to put in the hours.
Barrett McNagny is a neighbor to us, as well as a sponsor of this podcast. Barrett McNagny is a law firm that's located in downtown Fort Wayne, and they were founded in 1876. Now, I'll do some quick math for you. That's almost 150 years of experience. That's 149 years longer than this podcast has been around. Along with their experience, they also have a wide range of practice areas. They are best known for their trusted legal counsel where and when you need it. If you're interested in their services or want to learn more, be sure to check out the link in the description below. Now back to the episode.
Just to finish off our featured guests, Nate Spangle. How about that guy? With Nate, one of the things what did he say? He's the Hoosier hype man.
Yeah, that's what we're calling him.
I really appreciated that. I loved having him on the show. He talked about elevating your brand, but the one thing that really stood out to me is he talked about potential infighting.
And it's like they think they're too country and the country thinks they're too city and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, it's not me versus you. It's us versus Ohio. It's us versus Illinois. It's us versus Michigan.
And just the way he said it, I thought it was so simple and perfect, because, yeah, we're all in this together. And, I know that some of our Lidos have said it best. They said, whether somebody moves their company to us or not, there's still a chance that they would live in our community and commute to where the job is. And I think that that's the type of ecosystem way of thinking that we really need to magnify, because at the end of the day, we have to be particular to where we live, but we have to be particular to the state as well.
Yeah, I think that what was kind of inspiring about what he said, it was like we have to change the rhetoric about how
That's
we
right.
speak about not just our region up here, but as the state as a whole, because there are a lot of things going on, and we need to speak positively about all the things that are going on. And if somebody just says, "Oh, well, I'm from Indiana, there's not a whole lot to do here, I want to move out," well, you need to try and change that way of thinking. And tell them, all the things that we have going on here, because, we have so many things going on. No matter the time of year, there's plenty of things to do, especially here in Fort Wayne. But even in the rest of the state, there's tons of stuff that you can do and that'll perk your interest. So I think that's just the one thing that I took away from his podcast, besides the energy that he brought. He was a ball of energy coming in. But I think that really made for a good episode.
I thought between the two of us we're going to explode, but yeah, it was great. Let's talk a little bit about lessons learned. Mike and Davide were in. Just the way that they were able to talk about reverse engineering. Because I don't know if you guys remember this. I was asking him where EV has it wrong. And he focuses on off-road and and construction type of things. And he was talking about how the challenge for EV is that a lot of these companies, what they're doing is they basically build the same exact car without an engine in it and then put in a 2,000-pound battery, which means you're still not getting, all of the benefits of it because you're going to have to bury that battery at some point, right? And you're going to wear your tires out faster because of the weight of the thing and things like that. They're building these EVs from the ground up, which means it's architected that way, it's built that way, and it's gone into fruition that way. So it's from beginning to end, it's EV. It's not just tacking in a battery.
Yeah, one for me was Andy Sherman on the show. She's a person that she's got a really good energy, like a good vibe. I don't know what the word is. Like, she was just kind of like fun to be in the room with. But she talked a lot about growing up and maybe not being so good at school, being more of a creative, so not so like stereotypically like making good grades and in math and things like that. But then she kind of like grew up and saw her creativity as like more of a good thing and not something that's like holding her back. And I think that's something that I could relate to a lot, and I took a lot away from that. I think she did a good job at explaining kind of like, just because your brain works differently than other people's doesn't mean your brain is broken, just means you have to kind of approach things in a little bit of a different way and learn how to do things that work best with the way that your brain works. So I really liked chatting with her about those things. It was very inspiring for me. Yeah.
It is pretty interesting that all of our guests have run this gamut. There's the people who enjoyed school and stuck with it as a career, and then there's these people who are like, I was terrible at school, but yet they still made an impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, and along with being like a super inspiring guest, we don't necessarily have awards for our podcast, but I think she would win Best Dressed on our podcast.
Oh,
yes.
sure.
So she comes in this beautiful
It's so
dress
true.
that
Yes.
just kind of, she's like, oh, can I just like, and she's just
Flow it on
fluffs it up over the couch.
Do you know how many people said something to me about that?
Really?
Yeah.
She looked magical.
She
Because
did.
If I'm walking down the street and I'm wearing these, people usually recognize it, and they say, "Who was the woman in the dress?" And I know who it was every single time.
That's Andy.
But when she walked in, everybody knew it.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah,
I
which-
don't know if it was on camera, but she also had like a hat too, didn't she?
Yeah,
Like
she
a-
had.
Oh, I
She
forgot
came
about
in with the
that.
hat on.
Yeah.
And then she took off the hat, and then she had like a beautiful barrette in her hair. So it was like, just like no matter what, she was looking,
ready for it.
She had a fit
She
going
was doing
on.
it for Hannah. She heard about Kentucky.
She said, "Sorry,
She was
I'm
gonna go
late."
to
for the Derby, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Someone that I wanted to mention was Stacy Young. She is the president
Love
of
Stacy.
Manchester University.
Yeah.
I just loved her mindset on just her passion for the school that she is the president of, which she also had graduated from, which is really cool. I think she's really seen it in all its different stages as a student, as someone who works there, and specifically she was talking about the experiential learning programs that they have as a part of their school, which I just didn't even know about and I thought was so cool. I know there's, you can go to school, get an internship, but that's actually like built into their education is to go out, get a job so you can, earn a certain amount of money each year, but also to get an education like in the real world so that when you leave their institution and their university, you can put on your resume, 3 years of experience, which is something that I don't feel like is always like thought of ahead of time, but they kind of have that built in.
Yeah, and it was interesting when she was when I went out there to meet with her. It was on something unrelated, and she gave me a campus tour. She pointed up. We're walking around. She pointed up, and she goes, "You see that window right there?" And I said, "Yeah," because there was some kind of signage hanging in it. And she goes, "That's my son's dorm room." And I said, "Oh," I go, "Should we go up there and visit him?" And she goes, "No."
Absolutely.
Yeah, are you kidding me? My son won't attend school here anymore. But I thought she had some pretty interesting thoughts on education and
Yeah.
about real world experience. And I know that sounds cliche, but a lot of these universities, the real world experience is secondary. And to me, I thought that they put it as one of the first things that they were talking about, which I thought was pretty cool.
Well, I think at one point, really all you needed was your college degree to like get a job. But now it's just becoming more and more important to have that real world experience. So I also love when she was talking about like, yes, now you can have that experience to put on your resume, but also you can kind of take those experiences that you had like in your office setting and like speak about it in your classroom.
Yes,
like
I
when you're
love that
talking about
element.
that topic, like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that happened to me over at the office, and this is kind of how we handled it. And I thought that was a cool way of like, you know, bringing in what's actually happening in the real world.
And it benefits
too.
everyone in the classroom who, if they're, you know, working at different places, you can see different parts of the industry.
I think that's really cool.
The last person we have in lessons learned was Ryan Twiss.
Your buddy.
My buddy, my friend. Look who's this. Ryan spends a lot of time in our office still, so we still see him. There were two things that stood out. Number one, his story about his daughter calling me the silliest person she's ever known, which take it for what it's worth. She's only 3. She hasn't met a lot of people, and I'm not that silly. But
I'm not that
the one
silly.
the one thing that he talked
Come
about.
on, guys.
All right,
I just like balloons every
Can we
now
just
and
do a
again.
balloon drop? Give me a balloon drop and Sackett's happy. But I really liked it that he was talking about market potential analysis. And I know that sounds dry, but what he talked about was one of the mistakes that these communities make as they're expanding in housing or whatnot, getting more companies to come in. One of the challenges that they have is sea of sameness, right? Well, no, this is our community. This is what it consists of. This is how we're going to get people of that same mindset to move in here. And he's saying that what they're doing is in their market potential analysis is to say, wait a minute, who else should be coming here? Who should we be building these homes for the future? Right? New jobs means new needs, new power needs, etc. And they were reverse engineering it from who they wanted to come to the community, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I thought in his episode as well, he talked a little bit about the history of NEI. So if you're wondering,
Well, how long was he here? 13?
16 years, I want to
Yeah.
say. So I think because he like originally interned here.
That's right.
And then went back to school and then came back to get a job here. But just learning a little bit about the organization, it, you know, gave me at least a little perspective on, you know, where we started from as we're coming up on our 20-year anniversary next year. So
right.
it just, you know, learning about how the organization got started, you know, what they were doing back then to what we're doing now, just how we've kind of shifted from different, you know, initiatives that we tackle was very interesting to
I like
hear.
that. 2 years of show, 20 years of NEI.
Yeah. I wonder if 20 years ago they could have foreseen all of us sitting in a room doing a podcast as a part of their economic development company.
I didn't even get to meet everybody before I was hired. So, and that was intentional, I think. So,
Okay, let's move on to surprising moments from this season of the podcast. And I'll go ahead and start with Kelly Lynch. So, this was actually the very first podcast that I ever got to watch fully as a viewer because this summer I was on maternity leave. So, any of our viewers who are watching the intro segments throughout this spring in the first part of summer probably saw a growing bump. But if you're listening, maybe you didn't know that. So, I had a baby this summer.
before you get into that, can we talk about this for a second?
Yeah.
You and Brice both expanded your families.
Yeah.
I had a baby boy earlier this year. I don't think I really missed any podcasts because of it, but
And he will be our first guest of 2026.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so super exciting, and obviously that really reflects on the team on how two of us can both be out for an extended period of time and the show goes on and it's still just as high quality and just as great. But it was the first podcast that I wasn't a part of any pre-production. I wasn't a part of the filming. I wasn't a part of the editing. So I was like, ooh, let's watch this. I get to really get to see what a viewer is like. And I put it in surprising moments because I had no idea that this was in our region. A whole train and a whole experience. He goes on and on about the experience that he's cultivating, kind of where it started. I didn't know about it.
Yeah, and you know what? I didn't either. People were mentioning it to me when I first came in. And I'll tell you something. Talk about passion for a product. That guy takes the cake.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. There was and some of the things that they're trying to do and work on and how much it costs for maintenance if you do bring in a train. And it was crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming at all.
yeah, that one was definitely that had a lot of surprising moments. That's
Yeah.
for
It did.
sure.
And I feel like that really is how so many of our podcasts probably are viewed, of like, we have an organization or a business or something, and someone watches and they're curious and they're like, wow, I had no idea. I feel like sometimes I forget that when, we talk to them before the show, we talk to them on the show, and it's just, oh yeah, I know about that place, I know about this, but just like, yeah, I feel like that, is a big purpose of our podcast, is to just show people things maybe they didn't know and they've lived here their whole life.
Exactly. And I think too, if you can spark somebody's passion and show that it can pay off financially for you as well, people don't always, I don't know, you guys are closer to being college age than I am by a long shot, but I don't know if they teach you that, to follow your passion. It's almost like you get into a curriculum and you follow that path down, down where it leads you. But I think with him, he was so. Remember those pictures? Because you pulled up on his profile of him with the pipe and.
Yeah, he really buys into the aesthetic too.
He does.
He's the full package on
buys
that.
into
sure.
the aesthetic. Wow, that should be the name of the 2-year anniversary show. Buying into the aesthetic.
And talking about passion as well. I love just like sitting down with somebody and getting to hear them talk about something that they're really passionate about. I feel like that's a really cool experience. And the one that like takes the cake for me was Kurt Witcher from the Genealogy Center at the Allen County Public Library. We just sat here and I probably asked him 5 questions the whole hour, and he was so excited to talk about it. And that's one of my favorite episodes, because he was so passionate, and he knows so much. He's been there for a long time. He's really excited about it, and so it was an easy interview for sure. But talk about surprising moments. They have it's the largest collection of physical items related to family history ever in all of the country, which is just crazy to think about. Is right here in downtown Fort Wayne. So that one was really cool, and also surprising too. He told a story about a gentleman who had come in, and he said that he had a twin sister when he was younger, and they got separated in the foster care system, and he wasn't sure if she was if he could find her or if she was still alive. He had no idea what happened to her, and through the genealogy center he was able to find out what happened to her and kind of get some closure on that. And that's just one of those things that I never would have thought of, and I never would have known that experiences like that are being had over there at the Genealogy Center. But he sees those things every day, and he's really excited to talk about it.
And 2 things on him is obviously his passion for it isn't just I don't know, I guess I just had a misperception of what genealogy was. I saw it as Googling something, looking up a list and just very factual. But it's an interaction. It's a conversation. It's hearing someone's story and then putting the pieces together like a puzzle. And that, that's the best part of his job, is getting to talk to the people and learn their story. And he also, I just want to point out, was a great storyteller. I remember editing his podcast, and just the way he was just intentionally releasing each little thing. He's oh, I know you guys are on this story.
It's very theatrical.
Very
I loved
theatrical.
It.
I loved it. He told such a good story, which is perfect for a podcast. Someone else I was going to mention about surprising moments were Sarah and Andrew from InVets. This is also just an organization I didn't have any knowledge of prior to them coming on our show, and just almost everything they said was just
I didn't either.
Blowing my mind.
Nick was telling me about it before they came on the show, so he kind of helped prep me.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, it's one of those things where, you when you go through the history books and you see all the things that happened with Vietnam vets coming back and how they were shunned and how they felt unappreciated and everything, just to know that we've got an organization like that in place was pretty cool.
Yeah, and one of the facts that I think was the most surprising was that between 2020 and 2024, the economic impact of veterans entering the workforce just here was $22 million.
Yeah.
That's just
imagine what that totals nationwide.
Yeah.
And I think too, it's one of those things where, Nick, who works here, he went on and got his degree and his master's, I think, right after he was in Iraq. And it's just the thought that there's an organization here that gets you indoctrinated into workforce from military, right? That seems like it would be such a hard stretch, but when they were talking us through it on the show, they were talking about things like, no, this prepares you for that. And I think they did a really good job of showing how that transition should work from military life to actual in-life life.
Let's take a look at some successful moments that we've had here on the show. First off, I think Michelle and Reggie from Turnstone. And I think it was a successful moment because we were able to get them on right before the 2025 World Paravolley
Sitting volleyball. World
It was a
Cup.
long name.
And he was one of the announcers.
Yeah. But yeah, so like that turned into not just the podcast was a successful moment to help them promote that and all the good things that they're doing over there. But it was right before the World Cup. And then we were also able to go out there, a couple of us, me, Callie, and Hannah, and do some, promotion on social media for them, shooting some video. And then I was able to announce, be on the commentating crew for the bronze medal matches. So it just turned into an overarching thing of not just doing the podcast, but it turned out we could go do so much more with that organization and help them promote something they were doing. And I think that's, if any organization that we have in here, we're always looking to how can we help, do other things, not just have them on the podcast, but help them do other initiatives too.
That sitting volleyball is tough.
Yeah, you and I actually got to go
We
try
did.
it
We
Yeah.
did.
ahead of it.
Pretty soon, Brice and I were just hammering the ball at each other, and everybody was just kind of watching us like, I don't want to get in between these two.
I wish I could have seen that because I got to go and get some footage of the actual
Yeah.
Olympians.
game going, and so I wish I would have seen you guys
Yeah.
Yeah,
doing
because
that.
Brice and I were taking this as full-on competition, and everybody else around us they were like ducking away from the ball. We're like, no, we're in, man.
Yeah, we're all just here to let's have a good time. Like, no, we're gonna compete.
No, we're gonna win.
Well, no. The answer is no. Well, and Brice comes from a sports announcement background as well as, I guess, journalism for sports. So, it was so funny because I remember being in there and she's, we were asking them, well, how far along are you guys on everything? Do you have enough announcers, blah, blah. And she said, oh, we could really use another one. And I said, Brice here. and then as it was coming out of my mouth, I thought, geez, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe he doesn't want to do it.
Every time it
Got a
comes
nice
back.
side
Yeah.
hustle.
Every time they host a World Cup, I'm
Yes.
in it. So.
Here comes Brice.
Yeah. Another one I think that was successful was having Scott Sproat and DeMarcus Beasley from Fort Wayne FC in the show, on the show. And those guys were great storytellers. Again, the passion comes through for soccer and kind of also helping them promote what they have going on the field and their future as they're building their new stadium that's going to open up at the beginning of next year. So having them on was very cool. DeMarcus is kind of a celebrity,
Local celebrity for sure
around here as he went and played the U.S. men's national team. So having him on was definitely a successful moment for the show.
Yeah, it was a good conversation, especially now that they're building the new stadium and everything. And you guys have driven past that?
Yeah, I drive past it every day on my way into work.
Yeah.
It's coming along, and I'll tell you something. I think it's also it's one of those surprising notions that could happen in Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
And every time I drive by it, that's exactly what I think. I'm like, that is happening here. And those guys, DeMarcus, how many World Cups has he played in?
I think it was 4.
It was
4, yeah, and then he played in the MLS. He played over in Europe as well professionally because he started out when he was 16.
I was gonna
He
say,
turned
he had
pro.
said how young he it was his birthday when he was going to his first
Yeah.
World Cup, and he was turning 18, 19.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And and the thing is, and they brought gifts, which anybody who ever comes on the show, you're more than welcome to bring us gifts. I want to make sure I'm throwing that. You'll get a balloon drop if you
And
bring
what
it.
size?
I'm a size
Yeah.
small.
If you bring a gift for all of us or none of us or some of us, it's all good.
And I don't know if any of you guys had noticed, but I did count. We had 20 podcast episodes, but we also had a mini episode that I didn't count that we actually got to film on location of our Pioneer event. So this year we thought it would be really awesome to bring our whole podcast setup to our Pioneer event and kind of have it on display so that people can see it and be reminded that there's more facets to telling pioneering stories in our region. And so we actually had to film a mini episode just kind of promoting the event on location, which I thought was just a super successful moment for us to kind of get to see it on the road.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you something, because we've done how many on the road?
Just a
Ellis,
handful.
2, that would have been 3.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have to tell you, and hats off to you two, because that was your idea to do it.
Yeah, and I was 8 months pregnant, and I moved all of this furniture by myself.
All by
You
herself.
should
No
have
one
seen
would help
her.
me.
You should have seen her lifting the couch down the street. It was amazing.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, but I thought that was a really great, because all of this anticipation for the Pioneer Awards, all of this anticipation leading up to that, where are we going to set this little studio up there? You know, people will never understand the amount. We started planning for the next one now, and it's, you know, we're shooting this in mid-November,
Yeah.
and that's in May. So I thought that was a great idea, but it also set the tone for what we were about to walk into. I'm glad we did it that way, because I was originally thinking, well, why wouldn't we do a wrap-up at the end of that? And I was like, after the end of it, forget it. I was so tired.
We were like, whew.
Yeah, I was like, thank God it's over. But I can't say enough. That was you two, and that was a great idea. Great
Yeah.
execution, too.
It was a lot of fun, and I think anticipating for 2026, we already kind of have another off-location podcast in the works, so you guys will have to stay tuned for that one.
Absolutely.
Speaking of what's next for the show, let's talk about some goals we have for the future. Does anybody have any wish list for guests, topics, industries we want to hear from? Anything that comes to mind?
I'll tell you, for me, getting more involvement from our viewers, getting them to nominate more people for us to talk to, getting them on their thoughts on subject matter, I think that would go a long way.
Yeah, we would love to, interact in the comments, on our social channels. We definitely want this to be something that, is a touch point for different people in the region. Jumping in here to shout out one of our podcast sponsors, Sweetwater. Now, just for some reference, without Sweetwater, our podcast would sound something like this. It would also look something like this. Enough of that. Sweetwater is the nation's largest destination for music gear, as well as your one-stop shop for all things podcasting. We personally worked with them to fill out the studio, and I can say from experience they are the friendliest team to be working with. You can receive personalized gear advice as well as technical support to get your gear up and running. We honestly cannot recommend them enough. So if you're a music person, a content creator, a podcaster, etc., make sure to check them out in the description below. I think just industry and a topic that I think would be fun to hit on. We've already had Jeff from Sweetwater on the podcast, but I think hitting more of the music scene in Northeast Indiana would be fun, whether that's, having someone from the Clyde or the Embassy, because we have a big art scene here.
Oh, yeah.
And I would just love to hit on that industry. Again, we don't have anything in the books yet, but if you're anyone from those organizations, we'd love to hear from
Reach
you.
out.
Reach out. Little, I double dog dare you.
Yeah. That was my thing, was like more creatives on the shows, some of the industries, some more entrepreneurs. Obviously, sports is always gonna scratch my itch. We've had the Tin Caps a couple of years ago in year one of the podcast. We had Fort Wayne FC. Maybe we tried to reach out to the Comets.
I would love that.
Yeah, if we could do a podcast on the ice.
Ooh, chilly.
It'd be cool.
I'll come
You're
up with
dressed for it at least today.
I'll come up with the ideas here, Brice. We should do it on the ice.
Or we could do it at maybe revisit the Tin Caps and do it at Parkview Field with the whole
Yeah.
field and downtown in the background.
Or on the new soccer stadium.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or there. And my other wish list location was like the stage of a theater. Whether it's down at the Honeywell Center or on the Embassy. I've actually been on the stage of the Embassy, just taking a quick tour.
He's a star.
Bryce used to be a rapper.
Not for a performance or anything. It was just some little tour I was doing.
Using it that way.
Yeah.
The Nutcracker.
He's the guy who lifted everybody.
That's
right.
Sorry.
You guys are finding out my secrets. No, but just seeing that view from that vantage point. Usually you're looking at the stage, but to be on it and look out, you can see all the artwork above you and all the seats. It's just it's a really cool view. So just maybe doing something like that would be something.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. Okay, guys, it's about time we get into our rapid wrap-up questions. If this is your first episode you're seeing, first of all, what the heck are you doing? And two, the rapid wrap-up questions are just kind of like a fun segment that we have at the end of each show to wrap everything up, tie it in a bow, and say a fun farewell. So we have a few questions that have been just like a little bit iconic, and we ask them every time. One of which being, do you prefer Coney Island hot dogs or DeBrand fine chocolates? And Hannah has actually put together something that tallies all the votes to see who has won over the last season out of chocolate or hot dogs. So let's watch that.
Coney Island hot dogs or DeBrand fine chocolates?
Coney Island.
I love chocolate.
Chocolate every day.
DeBrand.
I'm a Coney guy.
I'd have to go DeBrand.
Oh, DeBrand.
Coney Dog.
Coney Island.
Coney Island.
DeBrand.
Coney Island.
DeBrands.
Coney Island all the way.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh, winner, the brand.
I think my favorite one was Stefan just going, I love chocolate.
Because he's in my office stealing the chocolates day and night.
So that was particularly probably our most popular question from the last 2 seasons. But we're introducing in season 3 some new questions. And so I wanted to ask everybody those right now to get us ready for next season. So the first question, I guess just popcorn, whoever wants to go. First question would be, are you a lake person or a hiking person?
Lake.
Hiking.
Lake.
I don't know. I'm not from here. I think I would
Yeah, but
say.
you're from Florida.
I know. So then it would be the ocean, like, or the beach.
Just like
So-
water or more.
Aquatic or...
Yeah.
The lake really freaks me out. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why, but I've never been on a hike, so I guess I'm a lake person. So next is a show at the Embassy or a concert at the Clyde.
Concert.
As I've done both, I'm gonna go concert at the Clyde.
I am a concert fan, and I've seen a couple at the Clyde. I've not seen anything at the Embassy, so maybe that would
Okay.
sway it if I've seen something.
Yeah, that's on
Good
my
holiday
winter
shows.
bucket list. Yeah,
I could see Brice.
Yeah.
Bryce up on the stage.
Brice and ballet.
How exciting!
People don't believe that guy can dance. This guy.
But he's always dancing around this office.
Yeah, that's just Brice.
He does that. I don't know.
Oh, boy.
Okay, next is Sweetwater Gear Fest or the Vera Bradley Outlet Sale.
Gear Fest.
I'm gonna go Gear Fest.
Vera Bradley.
I went for the first time this year. It was actually really. I wasn't expecting there to be so
I
many
know, you
things
came
there.
back with such a cute lunchbox. I might have to go next year.
You really should. It's
Were
very.
you there with Vanessa?
I was not there with Vanessa. She went on her own. But even if you're not a person that enjoys like a purse or a suitcase or something yourself, that's a great place to stop for Christmas gifts.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah, the
'Cause you-
tumblers and everything.
Yeah, they have everything there. It was really, really cool. Anyway, and then the last one I have is your favorite Northeast Indiana treat. So this could be like sweet treat, maybe like your favorite coffee drink. I'll go first. Hey, hand up. I love me a sweet treat. And move over. Just moved to my neck of the woods from Columbia City.
We did a field trip there.
We did do a field trip there. They do like the top, I don't know how many, like 6 allergen-free baked goods and ice cream.
Yeah.
I really do
They're
recommend
so
that
good.
one.
They're the only place I've ever found that has dairy-free Rocky Road ice cream.
Yeah.
And that is my favorite ice cream flavor.
They
so-
do such a good job.
And you
over
guys
there.
said the consistency was good too, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the gamble.
Yeah, that's probably a normal
Okay.
complaint.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to tell you, what's the name of the coffee shop right by Kilwins that we went to?
Canella.
Canella. And I had, do you guys remember what I had there?
The apples pie Red Bull with whipped cream on top.
Yes. And it sounds terrible, but I got to tell you, I was vibrating for the next 6 hours. And it tasted good too.
Yeah, I'd say my favorite is probably anything from the stand on Bluffton
so
Road
good.
during the summer. They're only open during the summer, but that's one of my favorite places to go to get an ice cream treat.
We
during
are
the
kind of
summer.
a food club,
Yeah.
you know?
Specifically sweet treat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
You can hit some golf balls and then get some ice
Oh,
cream
yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, right next to Bobic.
Which I won't repeat Bryce's, which probably is my favorite place because it is very close to my house, and we go there all the time this summer. I think I went like every other day that last month of pregnancy. But
Pickles and...
there's no pickles. There's just the sweet treats.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I would say probably no surprise to anyone in the office would be Cinnaholic.
What?
That is an all vegan cinnamon roll place. They also have like cookie dough and cookies and different treats, but the cinnamon rolls, oh my goodness, again, completely dairy free, but they have cream cheese frosting that is like the
I don't know
most
how they did
How do
that.
they do that?
how do they do it? It tastes
Yeah.
just like cream cheese frosting.
Yeah.
But if you can't
goodness.
tell, I'm pretty sure our marketing love language is sweet treats. I think
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
sweet treats is what really fuels us and makes us do what we do.
And I blame all of you for
So
it.
again, any gifts that are sweet treats are totally welcome to our office. Our address. No, I'm just kidding.
200 East Main Street.
Perhaps you've
Fort
heard of us,
Wayne.
NEI. You guys, if you don't mind, I would like to start a quick toast by first saying thank you for helping me realize this vision that we had. I think when we came up with Pioneer, I hoped it would get this far, and it did, and it's all thanks to you guys. And I think we are a wonderful team. You know, as we're going through this recap and stuff, I was getting goosebumps because I'm remembering these silly, stupid things that we've done together. These field trips. We went and got pickles last week. That was pretty fun. But this is a toast to you guys because you guys helped me fulfill the vision, and I can't thank you enough. And great job. To the future.
Brice, no one wants to toast you.
There we go. To the future. Thank you, my friends, and thank you for tuning in.
All right, guys, that wraps up our recap episode for this year. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast if you haven't already. We have a ton of exciting guests lined up already for 2026. Just to name a few, we have L3 Harris, Brotherhood Mutual, BT Solutions, and NEI Work. So if you're interested in any of those podcasts, be sure to stay tuned. We're going to have a lot more as well. Also, make sure to keep a lookout for our 2026 Pioneer event. We're going to be having another Pioneer video series coming out, showcasing all of our nominees, so be sure to check that out. The event is on May 7th, so make sure to stay tuned for that, and we'll see you guys next year.
Thanks, everybody.